Mike Sanderson, now joined by TedxMoncton's Trish Daley. So Trish, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
That's good. That's excellent. So you are a part of TedxMoncton, which is coming later this month to the Capitol Theatre, among other things that have gone on with the TEDx brand, at least here in Moncton in the Maritimes. So tell us a little bit about the show that's coming up.
Oh, we're really excited about our biggest big event that's coming up. It's actually going to be our biggest so far. We have done 3 events previous to this. And this one, we've actually moved to the Capitol Theatre because we have been selling out all of our events, and we decided we needed more space. So we're going to be holding it next Saturday night.
Get the big stage. Yeah. Get on out there in the Capitol Theatre. There's no better venue if you want to head on there. And there's a lot of great speakers that are on this list. You've got Becca Schofield's listed down to do it. David Olson's listed down to do it. There's a number of great speakers on there. Who else is talking?
We actually have an interesting range of speakers this year, and what I really like to kind of point out with TedxMoncton is that we don't actually pick speakers, we pick ideas. And that's the big thing with TED. TED is about spreading ideas, and ideally what we're looking for is a speaker that can present an idea succinctly because they don't have very much time. The maximum TED Talk is 18 minutes, and some people get considerably less than that. So we have a range of talks that go from anywhere from 5 minutes to 18 minutes, and we want to spread great ideas, but those ideas also have to be actionable. So we want at the end for people to be fired up and being like, what am I going to do? Because I'm going to do something.
Yeah, and to put it into perspective, this segment, this whole thing that we're talking now, it's 11.5 minutes. So, you know, in terms of time that you get for these TEDx talks, you can be much, even significantly shorter than what we're talking about right now.
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
So you got to be succinct, you got to be, you know, you got to be clear and pump people up, and that's what it's all going to be about. So there's 10 speakers in total, I do believe.
Yes, our biggest lineup so far.
So it's just going to be running right through it.
Yeah, it was really hard as a committee to pick. We had so many really great submissions, and we had actually planned to have maybe one less speaker than last year because it was so busy last year, and we ended up with one more.
Just power through it. Just power right through it. They're going to play you guys off like the Tragically Hip. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you mentioned that this is now the 4th event, I do believe, and this is the biggest one that's been held so far. So what, in the concept of it, of course, people have heard of the TED brand, and people may have seen it on various streaming services, or maybe they've seen an event live, or you know, what went into preparing this one for Moncton and the Maritimes as opposed to the brand that's out there now? So why Moncton? Why this area?
Well, what's really cool is that, like you said, people know a lot about TED. TedxMoncton is an independently run. So we are a much smaller group, and we tend to get our speakers from the local pool. So all of our speakers are coming from around the Maritimes, as opposed to a TEDx event, which happens from, say, all across Canada or internationally. So the first thing that we have to do as a committee, in addition to finding our venue and all that, is to call for speakers. And then we have to put all the logistics together. The interesting thing for us for TedxMoncton, we've been, you know, going strong now for a good 4 years, and we are the most active TEDx committee that we've heard of so far, because in addition to our big event, we also host smaller events called salon events. So we're a really busy committee. So we just finished a salon event a couple months ago while still preparing for this giant event.
So there's obviously a lot of planning that's gone into it, the biggest one that they've seen so far. So take us into a little bit more of the planning of this event in particular. What made it different from the other ones, and what were some of the challenges that came up?
Definitely the bigger venue has made a difference. We also have to prepare our staging. We have to put our backgrounds. We have to also prepare what we call audience experience. So that is, how do we engage our audience during the event, which is difficult when they're watching speakers and don't really have, as you said, much time in between, because it goes, you know, very quickly. So we have kind of a pre-time and then our intermission and our post-time. So we actually have to prepare those times for the audience in the lobby. So there's going to be some really cool interactive things that are going to be happening before the show, in between, and at the end of the show, including some really great food, but I'm not going to give that too much away. But food always brings people out.
Food does always bring people out, that's for sure. If you want to bring people in, you promise them food and they do it. If you need to move, you promise people pizza, and then they move. And you end up getting moved. You know?
Exactly, it's true.
So you talk about it's not just listening to people. There's a whole interactive experience with it. So for someone who's going to go, you know, if they're just preparing to sit there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it is, you know, what else is there in the peripheral that they could maybe, you know, get in there?
Well, what's interesting is that this particular year we're focusing on thoughtful truth. So we're focusing on the idea of not just making sure that you are thinking, but that you're thinking about where you're headed on a logical and a truthful level. Are we actually being true to ourselves, or being true to our communities, and are we really living our passions? So one of the things that we are looking at is offering, say, for example, a booth in the lobby which allows people to give us, as a committee, actual truthful feedback. So that's kind of an interesting and a little bit scary idea for us. But we thought, if we're going to talk the talk, we're going to walk the walk.
Yes,
so we're going to give the people opportunity to give live, actual video feedback, which we are going to post. And so whether you like us or you don't like us, we're going to find out, and we're okay with it.
So it's a true speaker's corner kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to come in there. It's to bring up the YouTube commenter and all of us, and you know, just kind of present that kind of thing. That's very interesting. So you mentioned the theme this time is thoughtful truth.
Right.
Now, what went into coming up with that theme? What was the idea behind that one?
Oh, well, and that is a process in of itself. So we have a pretty good sized committee, and of course we all have different ideas. So we have to brainstorm, like, kind of where do we want to go, and then funnel our ideas into that. So we throw out a whole lot of different kind of concepts. We have to make sure that it fits the TED concept, which of course is being very open to lots of different ideas without being inflammatory, without being selling, without being all of those things. And then we have to narrow it down, and everybody gets to have a say. And yeah, there's a lot of talk. It's amazing. You think a theme, oh, that's only going to take a minute, or
no.
5 or 6 meetings of minutes. It's kind of crazy.
Focus groups and crowdsourcing and all the stuff you got to do. You know, you got to ask all that stuff. But you meant it, like, it's a theme that has to be very moldable.
Right.
And that's the toughest part about it. And that's really the theme of a lot of TED stuff, where you see a lot of these broad themes.
Exactly.
And then you have to narrow it down. So you know it. Take us into some of the meeting rooms. What was the biggest, the biggest stuff that came in that way?
Oh, well, first off, there was obviously food.
Oh, but of course, yeah. Well, the food was notwithstanding. That obviously was there.
That was a given, yeah. I'm not sure I can really expose a whole lot of kind of what happens at our meetings.
Just pull the curtain back. Just whip it back.
But it's a lot of talking back and forth, and like we said, talking the talk and walking the walk, where we have to be able to say to each other, no, that's really not a great idea. Like, I can give a perfect example of something that I was really super keen about, that I really wanted. I thought, we have time for this, or we can fit it in the lobby, or we can, and someone came back and said, you know what, Trish, I don't think that fits what we're doing. And I was like,
then the ego gets bruised a little bit.
But that's a great thing about our committee. It doesn't. Like, the people on our committee are so genuine. Like, we are so passionate about doing what we're doing that you're never insulted when someone says, no, put the brakes on for a second. Not sure that is either logical, or that it's doable, or that it fits. And it's not that it will never fit, but right now that's not going to do what we want to do. So it's an amazing committee to work with. To be honest, when I first had the opportunity to come on, I was like, what do you need? Like, you need me to do what? I can do that. I don't do that now, but I'll figure it out. Because it's such an amazingly positive group of people to be around. And not just the committee, but then the speakers that you then get to be introduced to. One of our speakers this year, I asked if I could be his mentor kind of idea, or that's not accurate, his liaison, that's the word I'm looking for, because he's speaking on current events and how kids should learn through current events. So as an educator, that excites me to no end. I really believe in that. So even just now, being introduced to this amazing person who has worked with the UN and has like all of this amazing background going on for him, it's like, wow, I would never have gotten the opportunity to talk with him ever before. And so the opportunities that you get through TedxMoncton and through TED are just unbelievable.
Now take that and boil it down to 18 minutes, or boil it down to 6 minutes.
Or 8. Yeah, in my case, 8 minutes.
8 minutes. So yeah, you are speaking. You're one of the 10.
I am. Yeah.
So what's a little flavor of that? What's coming up?
I'm excited to say that, nervous, I guess, that I'm going to be talking about communication and how essential communication is to our lives, and how it impacts so many different areas when we are unable or unwilling to be honest about what we feel, what we need, what we want in our lives. And then how those impact our relationships with other people on different levels and how it impacts our children.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of wraps how the communication really, it's important, the communication aspect of it,
right.
Of course. Yeah, so for someone who's following along at TedxMoncton, it's coming April the 15th, Capitol Theatre. Where can they find out a little bit more?
They can go to our website at TedxMoncton.com, or they can check us out on Facebook. We will soon be on Twitter and Instagram, thanks to one of our wonderful...
Soon as they say. You know,
well, we have a wonderful new volunteer that's just set up... Well, I already had the Twitter account, but Instagram and Snapchat, so that's exciting for us. And obviously, the Capitol Theatre is promoting us very well because they are wonderful. They can buy tickets at the Capitol box office.
All right, so that's excellent. So that's Trish Daley. Thanks so much for joining us. TedxMoncton, coming April the 15th to the Capitol Theatre.